Hi my friends, welcome to the channel English Professionally, and this video is about English prepositions with nouns, so I'm sure, it will help you a lot to speak English fluently and correctly. And basically you just need to know this information. So there are some nouns and we need to use a certain preposition after them. For example, reason. So we say reason for. Just let me give an example. What's the reason for it? And let me type it for you, okay? What's the reason for it? So we say reason for. So what's the reason for it? So why does it happen? Why did it happen? So if there is a verb after reason, so you need to use ing. Look, what's the reason for doing it? What's the reason? What's the reason for doing it? So we say reason for doing something. It means that, so why should we do it? So why should we do it really? What's the reason for doing it? So what's the reason for learning English so intensively? It's a simple actually answer. We need to learn it fast. Okay? Next, demand for. So there was a growing demand for those goods. There was a growing demand for those goods. Okay, so you see, so the demand was getting or was becoming so bigger and bigger. So growing demand for those goods or for those products. Good. So what about to? So, students often make mistakes with this preposition. We say solution to. So, for example, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to solve this problem, and you can say this kind of actually sentence, or you can ask this kind of question. So, what's the solution to this problem? What's the solution? What's the solution to this problem? It means, how can we solve this problem? Solution to. What's the solution to this problem? Remember this expression, solution to a problem. Good. Answer to. Okay, what's the best answer to this question? Okay, good. So what's the best? What's the best answer to this question? What's the best answer to this question? So we say answer to. Okay, what's the best answer to this question? Okay, next, objection to. Okay, good. So I had no objection. I had no objection to doing it. It's one more tricky question. So I had no objection to it, or to doing it. So it's about grammar, yeah? So you need to remember objection to doing something, yeah? It's an exception. So we mostly say to plus verb, but we see to plus verb plus ing. I had no objection to doing it, yeah? Without to. I had no objection to doing it. Well, so it means that it was okay. So I thought, yeah, it's okay, we can do it. So, good. So, attitude. So we say attitude to or towards. For example, what's your attitude towards smoking? Or what's your attitude? What's your attitude? You can say to or towards smoking. What's your attitude towards smoking, or what's your attitude to smoking? It's okay. Okay, just let's revise it shortly. So what's the reason for it? What's the reason for doing it? There was a growing demand for those goods. What's the solution to this problem? What's the best answer to this question? I had no objection to doing it. What's your attitude to smoking or towards smoking? Good. So So what's your attitude? It means, so what do you think about actually smoking? What's your opinion about it? What's your attitude towards smoking? Okay, next, so addiction. For example, addiction to. He couldn't hide his addiction to the internet. He couldn't hide his addiction to the internet. It means that so other people could see it very easily, so he couldn't hide his addiction to the internet, so it was obvious. Next, so answer to, it's I just don't know actually why we repeat it for the second time. Just let's skip it. Okay, thanks for understanding. Reply. Okay, so I've already replied to her letter. Okay, I've already replied to your letter. So replied to. I've already replied to her letter. Right. So what's next? So we've already corrected it. So just we see this word just one time, answer. And so the next word, so difference and connection between. So students often ask me, for example, what's the difference between these two words? Okay. So what's the difference between these two words? What's the difference between these two words, or what's the difference between these two expressions? It's a very common question. So difference between. Okay, connection between. Okay, what's the connection between these two accidents? What's the connection? What's the connection between these two accidents? So what's the connection between? So how are these things connected? What's the connection between them? So next, so lack of and cause of. For example, why didn't you do it? And you can say, so lack of free time. Lack of free time. So lack can be a verb. So you can say I lack free time, or you can say lack of free time is a real problem for me. Is a real problem for me. It means that you don't have enough free time. So you can say I don't have free time, I have no time, I have no free time, or I lack free time, or lack of free time is a real problem for me. So it sounds very natural. So just need to remember lack of. It's a noun here. So cause of, usually cause of an accident. For example, what was the cause of his death? Okay, what was the cause of his death? So it's similar to the word reason. The fact is that we say cause of an accident. So cause of. What was the cause of his death? Okay, just let's revise it shortly. So he couldn't hide his addiction to the internet. I've already replied to her letter. What's the difference between these two words? What's the connection between these two accidents? I lack free time. Lack of free time is a real problem for me. What was the cause of his death? So in, increase in, decrease in. For example, there was an increase in sales. So there was an increase in sales. So the opposite word is decrease. So increase means growth, so more, sales, and decrease, it's the opposite word. So there was a decrease in sales. You can also use these words. So drop, rise, or fall. Drop in, rise in, fall in. Okay? So there was, yeah. For example, just let me give you another example. There was. So you can say an increase or a rise or a fall, not drop. Drop, it's another word. A fall in demand. In demand. It means that so there was less demand in the end. So there was a rise, drop, fall in demand. Okay? Good. So increase. So actually, so it means more, like rise, and decrease means less, like drop and fall. It's less than it was. Okay? So, and so two more, yeah, extremely important words and phrases: satisfaction with and dissatisfaction with. So, for example, I experienced a feeling of dissatisfaction. And then we'll continue it. I experienced a feeling of dissatisfaction with their service, for example. So I experienced a feeling of dissatisfaction with their service, yeah? Or on the contrary, so you can say I experienced or I had, let me give you just another example. So I had some kind of satisfaction with my results. I had some kind of, it's a very natural phrase for speaking, satisfaction with my results. Okay, so I had some kind of satisfaction with my results. It means that I was satisfied. I was satisfied with my results. Yeah, I was satisfied with my results. And here means that I was dissatisfied with my results. I was dissatisfied with my results. I wasn't happy about my results at all. Okay, so let's revise it. So there was an increase, decrease in sales. Good. So there was a rise, a drop, a fall in demand. I experienced a feeling of dissatisfaction with their service. So I was dissatisfied with their service. Or I had some kind of satisfaction with my results. So I was satisfied. I was satisfied with my results. Okay, my friends, thank you very much. Yeah, please pay attention actually to these words and preposition, and I'm sure it will help you a lot. Thank you. Bye-bye.